Welcome back to the morning show here on Arise News. Now, FCT Minister Wike this past week accused the former governor of Anambra State and Labour Party's 2023 presidential candidate Peter Obi of diverting state funds. The allegations came during the inauguration of a road project in Abuja. Wike spoke in response to Peter Obi's criticism of dilapidated schools in the FCT, describing his former colleague in the Governors Forum as a social media president. He alleged that Peter Obi, as governor, diverted money meant to be used to develop Anambra State into a commercial bank where he was the highest shareholder so as to earn profit. The minister also challenged Peter Obi to publicly compare what he did in 8 years in Anambra with what he himself has accomplished in the FCT in just 2 years. For his thoughts on all that transpired, we're now being joined by Dr. Moses Paul, a political ally of Peter Obi and candidate for the chairmanship of Abuja Municipal Area Council in the Federal Capital Territory. Good to see you, Dr. Paul, and thank you for joining us on the morning show this morning. Now, you heard my introduction. I believe that you facilitated Peter Obi's visit to that school. I believe it's called Tongan Nasara Leah Primary School. Now, how did that, connection come about? I know that you're running for chairmanship. I'd like to know about the school in particular. I know there were issues about toilets. How long has the school been dealing with these, facilities, these inadequate facilities, and what did that visit accomplish, the visit between you and Peter Obi, before we dive into the allegations of FCT Minister Wike?
Thank you so much, Ojope and Nigerians. This is very important, and first and foremost, it's good to clarify that when clarity is not given to issues that border around our livelihood, politics, governance, etc., it allows confusion to thrive. This is something that I've been doing for a very long time, and this is not the first time I'm taking Peter Obi to a primary school or a health center to help, since he's been supporting a lot of things to do with education across the country. 2 years ago, I took Mr. Peter Obi to a place called Tunga Madaki, to help facilitate and fix the primary health care center there, where I have been doing a lot of help facilitating, with the nurses and people there. And so it's also important to clarify that this particular visit that was misinformed is not the first. I took Mr. Peter Obi to Tunga Nasara, which is in Gui Ward, just behind the airport, to look at the facilities, because it was becoming overwhelming when I visited the school a week before that. They had no toilet facilities, children were sitting on the floor, things are really broken. And so I took him there, and he facilitated, gave them 2 million naira to fix the toilet, at least so that the children and the staff can have that. Following that, about a week later, I took him to Kabusa Ward in Lugbe. This particular school is in Kapua, is a primary school, where, according to the teacher there, you come to school, there are sheets everywhere, the children are in the cold when it's raining. And so I took him there, and this is something I've been doing. It's not because I'm running for the chairmanship of AMAC, but it's also important to clarify that primary school, local clinics, local and rural roads, sanitation, those basics, those elements are within the purview of the AMAC Chairman. It is important to clarify what are the roles of the federal government and what are the roles of the local government. This particular instance has nothing to do with the minister or the federal government. It is purely the responsibility of the local government. And I'm going there, I'm attending to these issues because I'm running for that office. I understand what it means. I'm being a voice for these children who are voiceless. I'm standing in to ensure that they are safe. They live in a very good and clean environment, because the primary job of the chairman has to do with, number one, maintaining public primary schools, providing teaching and learning aids, ensuring that they are adequate, ensuring that their sanitation, their water, their entire environment are catered for, and to ensure that an oversight over community-driven projects. These are the purview, these are the constitutional responsibility of the local government chairman. And you see, because for most part in Nigeria, people are not able to divide distinctly what are the jobs or the responsibilities, the constitutionalities of the federal minister or the president, as completely divided, separated from the local governance. It allows confusion to thrive. So it is a complete misinformation, that was put out to say that, what Mr. Peter Obi said, it has nothing to do with the minister. The minister is not responsible for that. The question I think that should be asked is, who is responsible for this? Where is the AMAC chairman? These are the questions that should be asked, rather than just, take responsibility for what does not concern a particular individual.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Moses. Paul, thanks for the brilliant submission so far. But I'd like to ask a couple of questions. I like the fact that you broke it down that this is not so much about the Minister for FCT, but about AMAC in particular. And you asked a question, where is the AMAC chairman? Who is in charge? What is he supposed to be doing? These are actually the questions that we expect you to answer. You know who the AMAC chairman is. You know that he is Abdullahi Adamu and is a member of the APC. You, of course, know that election is coming in February, and you will be running to become the chairman. My question to you is that, first, what have you done outside of taking Mr. Peter Obi to areas where you think that are neglected? What have you done to call out the chairman of AMAC in particular? And what specific areas, beyond a few schools and a few health facilities that are not working as they should, what have you done to call his attention to it? And what are you promising, if you win in February, to do differently? And then when you bring a former presidential candidate to schools that belong to local government in the Federal Capital Territory, it looks to me like you are opening the door of politicization. And that, in my opinion, will be why the Minister of FCT, Wike, has responded in the manner that he did. So my other question to you will be, you are running on the platform of ADC. Mr. Peter Obi, as we know, as of today, is still a member of the Labour Party. What is the connect? And if it is about the coalition, don't you think that what we are witnessing today, it looks like the boat or the ship of the coalition has already capsized? Or do you have a different view?
Thank you very much. A very interesting question. I've been in the civil society organization. Like I said, 2 years ago, I've done a lot. I have a PhD in environmental resource planning. I went to primary school right here in Abuja. I've been here for nearly about 40 years now. Secondary school was done here. And all my schooling from undergraduate to PhD were done right here. So I understand the city, I understand the plight of the people. For me, it is about being a servant to the people. And I have been doing this. I've been putting children in school, helping out, getting grants from the international community, and solving these issues that border around education and health. I told you here that I've gone to Tunga Madaki to even put the nurse who was attending to over 100 pregnant women, on some stipends, like I do with some of the IDP camps. And I will tell you a very interesting story. About 2 years ago, shortly after the elections, I was in Atlanta I went there to gather, equipment to be able to revamp the primary health sector within the FCT. I brought in about, $500,000 worth of medical equipment, for some of the senators to distribute here in Abuja. And I reached out to the local government chairman. I went to his office and I told him, these are within your purview. This is my connection. This is what we can do to revamp the health sector. But of course, that was the last time he picked my call. So this is not the first time I'm calling out. The fact that I'm attending to these issues show clearly my understanding of what needs to be done at the grassroots level, because I also know that at the end of the day, education is local, health is local, security is local, our livelihoods are all local. If we attend, especially to a local government council like AMAC, which is the #1 local government council in the country, the president lives here, the ministers are here, the National Assembly is here, and I can tell you the entire diaspora community, all the embassies, they are all here, and I've been interfacing with them. To have a local government chairman that understands these nuances, it's very important for the symbol of the nation. If we can fix these distractions, then the national collective in terms of even the educational structure will become a lot more stronger. Yes, I took Mr. Peter Obi there, just like I've taken other philanthropic actors there. And yes, I'm running under the ADC. For you to say that the ADC structure has collapsed or is collapsing is far from the truth. I think it's even getting much stronger. But I'm not here for politics. I'm here for governance. I believe and I know what to do where education is concerned, where the health factors are concerned. I'm concerned about the primary livelihood of our people. Today, if you walk through Abuja, you go through AMAC, our markets are all entrapped with litigation unending rather than trading for progress. Our children are dying here, right here in AMAC. The security architecture is something to be very worried about. Like our young, brilliant Arise TV anchor that died here. It's all has to do and related to the security. Our young people are given to drugs, and addiction. All of these can completely be revamped and taken out, because at the end of the day, energy can neither be created nor destroyed. It can only be converted from one form to another. I understand what needs to be done in terms of tourism, in terms of the diversity that we are. There are different. I have done counter programs that I've taken to Maiduguri, Abuja, Lagos, and several other places to help revamp and reshape, the narrative of conversation on how the energy of the young people can be redirected. I know what to do where this is concerned, and that's why I'm running for this office. The fact that I'm attending to these issues shows clearly, where, these are the answers. And like I said, I'm not even doing this because I'm running. I've been doing this for the last, if you check my traction in the last, 7 years, 5 years, the Tungamadaki Healthcare Center that I went to revamp, I did that 2 years ago. So attending to these issues are what are critical. And this is why I know that as chairman of AMAC, if AMAC are looking for somebody who understands the status quo, who can revamp from education to health, to sanitation, to our local roads, to helping our young people to reshape their narrative of conversation, I'm the right man for the job. And as of the coalition is getting stronger than ever, with all the permutations that are going on. This is politics, but I'm not here even to discuss politics at all. I believe that the #1 council in the country, which is a symbol, which is the most significant geographical space in Africa and in Nigeria, needs somebody who is deeply rooted here and somebody who understands the globe. I've been in every modern state capital in the world. I understand what is the traction that can be brought to AMAC. this is not just a local council. Even in terms of revenue, AMAC is bigger than a lot of states because of the symbolism and the significance, you know, and this is what I bring to the table as an AMAC chairman.
So can you clarify again, because there's still that misconception about Peter Obi attacking the Federal Council administration. Did he at any point attack the Federal Council administration? If you'd like to clarify that for our viewers.
You know, OG, is interesting that when people raise the consciousness of people like Mr. Peter Obi, who are bringing awareness to the people, rather than getting commendation, they are insulted, they are abused, and they are criticized. Mr. Peter Obi never at any moment, when we went to the primary school, the teachers said to us that you could see the school, there are no windows. Children in Abuja are sitting on the floor. No single toilet for both staff and the pupils. In Tungan Nasara, there are over 200 children. In Kwapwa, there are over 200 children. No single toilet facility. Rather than ask and seek for who is responsible, Mr. Peter Obi only said which area from. This is the reason. I mean, this is the federal capital. Don't forget that our children were out of school for months because over 4 billion disappeared and people had to protest. People had to come out. In the most important local council of Nigeria, children were out of school for months. I understand the value of education. We're talking about the primary human capital development index. Rather than getting commendation, what we get is misinformation, insults, and abuse. This is why there is need for change of status quo. This is a clarity. You can look at the pictures, you can look at the school, I mean, you can look at the videos. I mean, it's almost unbelievable that this is the federal capital. This is what the narrative, this is where the focus should be. We should be talking about children who are not safe. We're talking about children sitting on the floor. We're talking about no sanitation. These are the primary responsibility of the local government. There was no time, there was no way. It was actually a reaffirmation of what I said that Mr. Peter Obi re-echoed. And this is what you have. At no time did he criticize the federal government. He did not even speak about the state. He would just re-echoed what I said concerning what was happening at the primary level, which is within the purview of the local government chairman.
All right, thanks for that clarification. Now, you've said that AMAC is broken. Now, I'd like for you to, you've touched on, I believe, teachers and healthcare. I'd like for you to identify 5 of the most urgent problems that need immediate attention. Talking about that school, you've talked about the schools without teachers haven't been paid for 6 months. I'd like for you to share with our viewers what the full story is behind this. And also in terms of security, like you mentioned, we recently lost a colleague in this armed robbery incident. I believe that's in the Kantampe area of Abuja. Tragically, now, how bad is security situation in AMAC, and which communities face the greatest threats? And then finally, what is your assessment of the incumbent administration's performance, especially with security, like I have just mentioned? And of course, also we've seen stories about waste management. And also, what is I believe I'm asking too many questions at the same time. I just would like for you to unpack all of this. The current state of waste management and environmental situation in AMAC. First, I'd like for you to tell us the situation with the teachers, why they haven't been paid for 6 months. I'd like for you to assess the performance of the incumbent administration and also touch on security in AMAC.
Thank you. For me, I think the teachers have not been paid because the local government council currently does not even understand the narrative of conversation regarding education. I think it's just a completely blind side, you know. Education is primary. I mean, I was head boy in primary school right here in Abuja, head boy in secondary school. I have had interactions in Harvard, in Oxford, and people have asked me, did you go to Columbia? Did you go? And I said, no. All my schooling was done in Abuja here. OG, you can imagine at the time I was in primary school here, if schools were shut down for many months, I probably would have been a terrorist or a hoodlums or just anybody on the street today. And this is why the insecurity is increasing, because when we don't pay attention to the critical human development index, if we don't even understand the narrative of this conversation as leaders, then it becomes very worrisome. This is what I think the issues are. As regarding the assessment, there is no local government presence in AMAC right now, and this is why you can see a lot of concentration on the minister, on the federal, because the local government does not exist. It's like being in London and you don't even know who the mayor of London is. It's like being in DC. How can you be in a place comparable to any global state in the world, and yet who has even seen who the local government chairman is? Has he even addressed the people? We're talking about local governance, where the grassroots are concerned. Completely absent. So, OG, this is how bad the situation is. The first respondent, or the responsibility of security of AMAC, squarely lies on the local government chairman. He does not even attend to these issues. These are real-time issues we're talking about the life of our people, the security of our people. I mean, should your car break down today in city center? It's crazy what is going on the fringes, from Gui to Nyanya, to Kabusa, to Karishi, to Borozo, to everywhere. The insecurity is really high on the fringes. And I'll tell you something that is even very worrisome and even crazy. I have interfaced with terrorists. I have gone into the woods with millions to rescue people who have been kidnapped right here within our borders. It's almost unbelievable that I'm having this conversation on national TV. Some of the people that I've rescued, they live here with us. I never thought, as one of the young people who helped in the programmings that helped reshape Rwanda shortly after the genocide, I never knew that one day I'll be having this kind of conversation in Nigeria, that we've gotten to a place where the place that should be the most secure place in the country is porous without attention. You know, children out of school without attention. Healthcare services broken down without attention. Security, double taxations. You can't even do business here in AMAC. Multiple taxation, confusion everywhere. You don't have, some of the times you don't even know what channels of payment that should be done. This is what is going on in the #1 council in the country. It's an aberration. This is completely uncalled for. And what can be done is very easy. I mean, I know what can be done. The solutions are just right before us. Right. It is important to have somebody who understands these nuances and who can not only shed light, but who is already attending to the issues.
All right, Dr. Paul, thanks for the answers so far. Just before we let you go, I'd like to put in two quick questions. First, you mentioned the issue of why the primary school teachers are not being paid within the AMAC jurisdiction. Part of what is in the public domain is the fact that there is a dispute, ongoing dispute between the FCT administration and then the area councils involved on who should be paying. I'm asking you, how will you tackle this problem if you are elected in February, given the fact that you will be elected on the platform of an opposition party, but you have a current chairman who is a member of the APC dealing with an APC government at the federal, yet the problem of who should pay the primary school teachers persists. How will you deal with it differently? And then secondly, you've mentioned all the things that need to be done. What you have not addressed is, where will you get the funds to tackle all those problems? I'm sure that you are aware that the budget that the AMAC is running this year, 2025, is barely 25.6 billion. That's the #1 area council in Nigeria, as you have said. The president lives there, the NSA lives there, the ministers, everybody live there. that 25.6 billion, out of it, 11.8 billion goes into recurrent expenditure. Only 13.7 billion will go into capital project. Even for the capital projects, I'm sure that you must be aware, 1.2 billion is just for ongoing projects, 11.4 billion for new projects, and then 1.1 billion to service debt. Where will you get money to do what you're doing? If that money were to be available, do you think that Zaka Mike Alangu, the chair of the area council that you are hoping to unseat, will not have done them? Dr. Paul.
Thank you. This is a very brilliant question. First of all, it's important to clarify that the Constitution is very clear in terms of the roles and responsibility of the local government chairman as different from the federal. And I think the minister who is said to be the Minister of Project is going to love Dr. Moses Paul. If he's a person of project, I am about project. You know, I love to ensure that people at the grassroots move forward. So I know that the minister is going to, is even going to ensure that I have all that is required, because I'll be attending to the issues. And talking about where we're going to get funding from, I've told you here that there are a lot of portals all over the world, you know, where you can plug in. It is about who is sitting on the table. There are many Nigerians and there are many organizations across the globe who are willing, even in terms of the programs that I already have, which I'll be unveiling, you know, as the time comes closer. People are already picking the tabs to ensure that these things are done. They just need a servant leader, one who has clarity in terms of program, has the will, you know, to be able to attend to these issues. Apart from the budget and the government subventions, there are lots of other areas across the world where, you know, a chairman or anybody holding any portfolio can unlock funds to ensure that things are attended to. I told you about the medical equipment that I'm bringing into this place. It's at no cost to us Nigerians, you know. So there are many areas that I wouldn't want to talk about even openly here, because they are part of my strategies, you know, on how to revamp our healthcare and education. But I can tell you, even the funds that is there, you know, it is more than enough if you begin to attend to the issues. The points I'm pointing out here is very grievous. The local government in AMAC does not even exist in terms of performance. This is where the issues lies. If you are asking, where does the federal get their money from? It is governance. And I will say it over and over again. Yes, I'm running under the ADC. The moment, it doesn't even matter what political platform you're running on. If you're a person of purpose, power, and performance, you're going to be a president or a minister or a local government chairman over everybody. Christian, Muslims, Igbo, Yoruba, you're going to be local government chairman over everybody. And so it doesn't really matter. What matters is your understanding of the issues and attending to them. It's about our livelihood. It's about protecting the lives of these voiceless people. It's about standing in for them. You know, it's about these basics. Basic sanitation, toilets, water. This is the most important aspect of our lives. And I know that the local government elections are more important than the presidential election. It's just that Nigerians have not woken up to understand that their security lies at the local level. And this is my challenge to all those living within AMAC, the business people, the political leaders. It's important that we have somebody who understands that, because that is the only way we can secure our environment. This is the only way we can live and have a beautiful environment. I have a PhD in environmental resource planning. The waste management industry is a multi-billion naira industry. I have people and partners across the world. You know, if you go across AMAC today, AMAC is not just Wuse and City Center. AMAC is very dirty. From Gwarimpa to Jiwa, to Gwagwa. It's unbelievable. You wouldn't even believe that you're living in the FCT with the amount of waste and dirt that exists. Right. I have done policies where environment is concerned in other states. And these are the things that I'm bringing to the table. Right. If you do not even understand policies around education, policies around health, how can you even attend to the issues?
All right.
For example, Nigeria is signatory to what you call universal basic education. Do you know for that singular reason, the over 100 embassies here are returning money back every year because we do not have people who even understand how to collect those monies from them.
All right.
I will have too much money to attend to the issues that abound in AMAC.
Because we have very limited time, thank you for sharing your policy with us. I wanted to ask you really quickly, did you say that you negotiate with terrorists? And you know about this Operation Safe Corridor that has been going on now, especially in Katsina State. Are you aligning with the federal government with the negotiation going on so far with terrorists?
Oh, yes, I've helped to rescue victims who have been kidnapped, but I am not aligned and I'm not working with the federal government regarding these issues. But I know how to de-radicalize people whose mindsets have been warped and destroyed. So it's part of what I've done.
The federal government should continue to negotiate with terrorists, Dr. Mo.
Well, I think we should. And it's a very serious question. I believe and I know that this issue can be a thing of the past if we have serious leaders on board to attend to these issues.
Well, all right. On that note, Dr. Mo, I'd like to thank you very much for joining us on the morning show this morning. Thank you very much indeed.